Good morning. We're looking at a couple of homework questions this morning. So we're starting with problem number 7. So as I look at number 7, I see that the absolute value is already isolated, and so I will be writing the piecewise for this absolute value. And again, I have to do that because the graph of absolute value, this will be moved to right 15, is shaped like a V. So I'll take x minus 15. And that will be if x is greater than or equal to 15. And that comes from x minus 15 being greater than or equal to 0. The relationship between the two sides of this absolute value graph is that they are reflections of each other. So I will reflect x minus 15. And the domain of absolute value is all real, so this domain will be x is less than 15. From here, I need to write my two equations, so I take my first piece of the piecewise, and I'm going to see where it's equal to x squared minus 15x. But I do know any solution I get there will have to be greater than or equal to 15. I'll take the opposite of x minus 15 and set it equal to x squared minus 15x. But that has a domain restriction as well. X must be less than 15. And now I'm going to solve. I see my first equation, I see it's a quadratic, so I'm going to set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 16x plus 15. So a quadratic that factors. Set each factor equal to 0. So I get 15 and 1. Well, 1 is not greater than or equal to 15, so that's an extraneous solution. On the other equation, let's see, I'm going to distribute the negative this time. It's a quadratic equation, so I'm going to set it equal to 0. Let's see if I can get that back in focus there for you. All right, so I'm going to factor next using trial and error. Factors of 15 that give me 14 would be 15 and 1. So I get x equals negative 1, x equals 15. I already actually have 15 as a solution, so I get negative 1 as my answer there. Next, I'm looking at number 9. In number 9, we're looking for how long it would take Zach to complete the rest of his trip. So that's why I have R is the speed to complete the trip. So if I look at it, I know the total distance is 662. I see that for 5 hours of the trip, he drives 55 miles per hour. So actually, if I take 5 a time times 55 a rate, that's giving me part of the distance. To get the total distance of 662, he's going to spend the remaining time, which will end up being 9 hours. And we don't know how fast he's going, so we'll call that R. So here we can see our setup for this problem. So from here, I just need to simplify. So 662 will equal 275 plus 9R. $387 will equal 9R. So R is 43. So Zach will drive 43 miles per hour. On 8C, some of you asked about it, and yes, you caught that on the answer key, I only wrote f of 0. I left the 6 off on the answer key. So as we look at 6 times f of 0 is 4, and so yes, that would be 24. I did have a couple people ask about number 3. So we're going to consider number 3 graphically here for just a moment. So I'm going to subtract 4 and then divide by a negative. Okay, so I want us to think about this graph. So this absolute value graph will be horizontally compressed by 1/3, and then it will actually be moved right 2/3. So, it looks something like this. You're trying to find where it equals -10. Well, that's a horizontal line down here at -10. We can see graphically it should be no solution. If you didn't get it to be no solution algebraically, it might mean that when you got your solutions out, you didn't check it in the domain. So make sure you go back and take a look at that.